Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we talk about the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Today's show, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the superior foes of Spider-Man, since the majority of the set has been spoiled, and we're just going to do some analysis. Now I'm going to do some prefacing here. Just due to all the things that's been going on the last few weeks with family and whatnot and tournaments, I've just not looked at it. Like, straight not looked at it. So what we're going to do is something that I really haven't done in a while. Is I'm just going to go through the set, and you're going to get first impressions, and you're also going to start to see, like, hey, if do I think like this, does this legitimately look like a good idea or a bad idea? Can we actually, run this figure? So there is that, and it seems that my keyboard decided it doesn't want to work. Okay, so that sucks. All right, great. Possibly going to have to go and buy a keyboard tonight. So yay. Oh man. Yay. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this crack-a-lackin'. Let's start off by, I'm just gonna skip the first Spider-Man because that's really not that good. When you have charge and you have close combat expert, that's not a good combination. So automatically, like, the first Spider-Man is out of the picture. Now you're like, well, the super senses. I'm like, no, you can't just base everything off of evasion. So yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move on down. Let's look at Black Mamba here. Masters of Evil team ability, so he could just keep attacking. That's nice. Sneak attack. Black Mamba can use phasing teleport. When she does and moves 3 squares or less after action is resolved, she can make a close combat attack. So pretty much a BAMF and a little stabby. So that's some good stuff. Dark Force construction. Black Mamba can use poison and smoke cloud. When she removes her smoke cloud markers, deal 1 penetrating damage to each opposing character occupying those squares. Now, this would not be that bad if it wasn't for the fact that your opponent can move. So if you're going to use this, you gotta make sure that you have some sort of plasticity or something to keep your opponent in those squares. But yeah. A static trance give Black Mamba a free action to make a close combat attack targeting one opposing character occupying one of her smoke cloud spaces. When she does and hits, that character cannot be given a move action until your next turn. So that's pretty much what she needs on click 1, but she gets it on click 2 and 3. So that's not good. Also, her attack value is 9. For her first 2 clicks, so that's really not that good either. So this sneak attack thing, this is some goodness here. This Dark Force construction, very, very iffy. Static trance is nice, but this needs some work. This definitely needs some work. Alright, NYPD officer. Trait New York's finest. When another friendly character with a police TA makes a ranged combat attack, NYPD officer can be within 5 squares of that character instead of adjacent to use the PD TA. Okay, yeah, this guy's meta right here. This guy is meta. Now you might say, but hey, Dark Logos, there's not a lot of people with police. Yeah, I understand that. But I feel this is very useful. Now, you don't get the bonus for the enhancement, but you do get it for the You do get it for the TA. Now, if we really look at it, getting a combination of enhancement plus the TA and okay stats, okay range. Nothing to write home about, but good enough. It's not bad. It's really not bad. So I like this. I really do like this. Can you turn this into your F tier support attacker? You know, I don't know, but getting PD and enhancement, that's a good combo for 35 points. That's worth paying. Okay. Let's keep on going. In the Prime, Common Prime, Captain Stacy. Okay, he has a 5 range. He has secretly figured out who you really are. Captain Stacy can use Outwit. Characters with a power countered by Captain Stacy can't use Outwit, Perplex, or Probability Control. So that's pretty nice. It's a multi-purpose Outwit. It is a can't use. So they can't like get something similar through another power or anything like that. Also, if you have a relic resource or ID card or something giving you one of those powers, you can't use it. So I actually like it. Captain Stacy Prime. Now, does this mean that he's great for your Prime slot? That's very, very, very situational though. Super situational. Okay, next up is Thug. Thug Life. 10 points. Trait always for hire when building your force. Choose a name keyword that at least 2 higher point characters on your team have. Thug has that keyword this game, but can't use theme, team, probability control. Now, here's what I'm going to say about this. For 4 clicks, and then all of a sudden, I can make this guy, a member of the Justice League. I'll take it. For 4 clicks, 10 points. I'll take it. If I have any ability to grant this dude any powers whatsoever, or have him be useful to power me up in any sort of way, I'll take it. If I can make a theme team and I'm like +8 because I have 4 of these little dudes, yeah, I'll take it. Now, the utilization of the Thug has to be more in depth than he gives me theme team role and they tie up people. You have to have other things that make them useful. You have to be able to grant them powers. They're blank slates, but I really, really, really got to say that the potential is there to break these suckers. So, Thugs, $2 a piece, maybe even $3. Really good stuff right there. All right, we don't have Cape Killer, which I thought they had everything. I was lied to. All right, J. Jonah Jameson. Let's see. I'm mayor of this town once per turn. J. Jonah Jameson can use Mastermind regardless of point value. So that's not bad. Duck, Mr. Mayor. J. Jonah Jameson can use combat reflexes, energy shield deflection if he's adjacent to a friendly character. I don't have a problem with that if you can find a way to replace his defense value. Yeah, I'll just say it like that. This Superior Spider-Man is a hero. J. Jonah Jameson can use Perplex. When he does and targets a character with the Spider Family keyword or Spider-Man ally team ability, you may modify any value except damage by +2. And this is where it can get interesting with him. Because in the right situation, you could power up your Spider-Man ally people to do some really cool stuff. But we'll see. I'm on the fence right now on J. Jonah. I think that maybe in the future we might find a place for him. See, we don't have Betty Brant. How can I review a set without Betty Brant? There you go. Yeah, I'm starting to notice there's some figures here that are missing. That sucks, man. Spider Girl, uh, you're sucking. Rattler. Okay, let's look at Rattler. Rattler doesn't seem bad. Okay, so you got your sneak attack, and you have smattering vibrations. Okay, Rattler can use Quake as if he had a giant reach of 3. That's not. Oh, that's pretty good. And improved targeting ignores characters, so that's pretty nice. When he does, hit characters can't make ranged attacks until your next turn, even if this power is lost. And that's not bad. So you could just Quake and just be like, yeah, if I hit, your whole entire team can't do ranged attacks because I hit them all. Ah, that's not bad. That's very, very controlling. So I can see the sidestep. You sidestep, 2, then phase 3. So that's 5. That's a charge. That's a pretty good charge. I mean, that's like if you had a 10 move charge. So yeah, I actually like Rattler. Nice little bit of control if you so choose to have it. I don't like that energy shield though, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Green Goblin. I gotta pass on that. Kingpin. Let's look at you, because the underworld will now be run like a business. This looks pretty cool. Kingpin can use leadership and mastermind. When Kingpin uses leadership, he succeeds on a roll of 4 through 6 and may remove action tokens regardless of point values. Now, this is good because he's useful regardless of the situation. Not only that, he could take tokens off of Galactus. So yeah, that's really strong. Yeah, so definitely get this guy. I mean, just for the trait, not even his special powers or anything else. Like just this trait right here, in high point games, is just broken. Like it's not balanced. Kingpin can use Outwit. When he does, he may use it as if he occupied the square of a character with a shared keyword, which, yeah, like, that just gives him a lot more reach. A lot more reach than what he should. So, definitely an A figure. The problem that I see that's going to happen in the future is this. His overall offensive capability is low, and at 75 points, that's a lot. And his utility in 300 points is very, very limited. And you're going to have to, and I do mean have to, utilize Hydra. And if you don't utilize the Hydra, ATA, it's going to put you at a huge disadvantage. I that's how I feel. Because if you got to figure out how are you going to make sure that this dude is not being targeted, and he's pretty much powering up, your force. So, he's making it so that you can get certain figures, with tokens off of them. So, like, just real quickly. So, all right, let's keep moving on. Dagger. He depends on me at the beginning of your turn. If a friendly character named Cloak is adjacent, you may heal him 1 click. That's nice. Searing Light. Dagger can use support. When Dagger hits an opposing character with a ranged attack, that character is dealt 1 penetrating damage instead of normal. Now, I like this, and here's why. It's 3 clicks. It's a medic. It's a wild card. Okay. Alright. It has Marvel Knights keyword, so it can get stealth with the ATA. Okay. It does 0 damage, but is able to do 1 damage. Okay. And if you're ever able to find a way to make her do energy explosion, she's going to be ridiculous. And if you're able to make her have energy explosion, give her a sniper rifle, she is by far stupid level ridiculous. But that's Golden Age. So you again, some of you might say you're looking at a 10 attack medic. That's not that good. But I look at it as 35 points for a 10 attack medic that also can running shot and do damage. So there is some potential there. Is she, light in the clicks? Yes. She's easy to KO. That's why I think that Marvel Knight's ATA is essential, so she can get some stealth. So, but you also have to look at it like this. She makes any cloak that's ever made way more tankier than what they should be. And let's just say you're able to find like an older cloak that's a little bit longer in the dial. If you have like 2 of these, you'll just be able to like sit next to him and just be like, here, let's massage your back, and all of a sudden it's like he really does not take damage because he's able to recover 2 from the 2 daggers just sitting next to him. And then not only that, the support that one of the daggers can use. So not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, next up is Stilt Man. Now, I'm going to summarize some stuff with Stilt Man. Because I did hear about him before. And I was just like, oh, that's sort of silly. First off, he has I can pretty much, add points to myself. And then if I add points to myself, then I go from a giant to a colossal. Okay. So that's there. All right. So if he adds 10 points to his value, he's a giant. If he adds 20 points to his value, he's a colossal. Okay. All right. Then he says, I know this may sound funny, but I can't feel my legs. Whenever Stiltman would take damage from an attack, you may instead remove a leg extension and roll a d6 that can't be rerolled, a 1 through 3. Deal him 1 unavoidable damage. So, if it's anything but Pulse Wave, he pretty much just says, yeah, just take 1 damage. Which gives him Ghetto Stop Clicks. Or, if he rolls a 4 through 6, he doesn't take any damage whatsoever. So, yeah, like, that's very interesting. He has Colossal Retaliation, Hydraulic Leg Smash. If Stiltman has Colossal Damage symbol, you may give him a free action and choose an opposing character that attacks Stiltman or damage a friendly character since your last turn. Play Stiltman such that he can make a close combat attack targeting the chosen character, then do so. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't say this power can't be countered or ignored. So that is a thing. So you got to watch that. But you're also Colossal Retaliating at 70 points with 10 attack and 3 damage. And he doesn't have any like AoE effect like the other ones do. Considering you're paying a lot more points for a Colossal Retaliation, that sort of suck. But here's the thing where it gets interesting. First off, if he Colossal Retaliates, it's a free attack, so he could get into position. And then he can do something else that's really interesting, I don't think a lot of people noticed, is that he can either power action Force Blast, so you can just grade A Force Blast somebody into the wall, or B, you can choose to attack with Force Blast, hitting them and then knocking them, into a wall, or choosing to Quake and then knocking a bunch of people off a cliff or into a wall. I think there's a lot to look at. I really do. But the problem is that he has the ability to lose colossal retaliation if he loses 2 leg extensions. Now, I'm just from what I'm looking at from reading the powers, is that whenever Stiltman would take damage from an attack, you may instead remove a leg extension, and that would stop him from possibly taking damage, or at least making sure he doesn't take like the full on damage that he would have taken. So yeah, this is interesting. I think there's some shenanigans here. So I think this is one to watch. Definitely want to watch. Shocker seems interesting, but let's just skip him. Okay, here we go. Tarantula. Now, this is a good trait. He has, sort of like the sneak attack, except if he moves 4 squares or less. After action resolve, he can make a close combat attack. His damage value is 2, though, and I don't like that. Then he has poison tipped stilettos. Tarantula can use precision strike when he hits an opposing character of 150 points or less after action resolves. Deal that character 1 penetrating damage for each action token on it. So yeah, he can possibly do more damage, but he's not doing a lot of damage. So I think this is interesting, but at 45 points he has some interesting keywords that would allow him to be played with rather reasonably. Yep. Here's something I like. Vermin. Wherever Vermin goes, give Vermin a free action. This is his trait. And if there are none of his rat swarm bystanders on the map, place up to 2 rat swarms adjacent as described on this card. So he's able to bring in 2 rat swarms. Then he has a second trait. Vermin follows. When Vermin uses poison, you may increase the damage dealt by +1 for each rat swarm adjacent to Vermin and the target. These rat swarms can't have used, nor may they use poison this turn. So you have the ability to power up your poison with Vermin, or you have the ability to make sure that the rats are able to also like poison other guys in other places. Where I really like this is I think that this helps your round table situation. That if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just play some ants and some rat swarms and try to get them in a position and do some poison shenanigans and have some fun. I do think that is interesting, and more importantly the fact that your ant swarms can carry your rat swarms, which is a little bit backward. It's a little bit backward, but that's the truth. So yeah. Okay. Other than that, there's nothing else to write home about. Let's see. Target. Ben Riley is interesting. The impact webbing is good. I'm not super stoked on Call from the Spider-Verse yet. I'm really not. It's the fact that you do have a 1/3 chance of nothing happening. And you have to look at it realistically that if you're paying for something like that, you need it to go off. You really, really need it to go off. Toxin isn't bad, considering what we're getting. If you can get him some form of moving attack, probably like the Hulk thing, Hulk card, like charge, give him some charge. He's definitely great then. But he needs some sort of moving attack. Okay. Mary Jane. It's been a while since we had a Mary Jane figure. 1 movement in time. Adjacent friendly characters name. Spider-Man modify. their attack values by +1 and can use the carry ability, but only carry Mary Jane. 25-point perplex. It's still in the same, school as of Jimmy Olsen. So I'm not really mad about this. I just think that she doesn't. Not having the Spider-Man team ability really does hurt her. I don't know why you need to give Mary Jane a 9 attack either. I don't know when she ever got really feisty on the catwalk and slapped somebody. It's freaking Mary Jane. She's never really done much. All right. Speaking of women that Peter Parker has had relations with, let's look at Silk, because that was why did they even make that whole thing? Anyway, again, that calling from the Spider-Verse, not too gung-ho about it. Thin finger webs. Now, this I think is interesting. Silk can use Incapacitate. When she does, she can use it normally, or she can use it as if she had triple targets, but doesn't give action tokens to characters with 0 action tokens. Now, this is really more of, hey, locking down those people that are already sort of slowed down. Which I feel is not as useful, because you have to think of it like this. If that character was going to clear anyway, putting a second token on them doesn't really do much, definitely if they have willpower and indomitable or anything like that. If they don't have willpower or indomitable, then yes, you have functionally done 1 damage to them. But then you also look at the fact that your base damage is 2, and that sort of suck. Then precognitive Spider Sense. She can use probability control. During an opponent's turn, she may use this probability control to re-roll her use of Spider Sense instead of an opponent's roll. So, okay. Sorry. Her roll of Super Senses. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, re-roll her Super Senses. So she has the ability to re-roll her Super Senses, so I like that. That's not bad. That actually makes her way stronger now. So yeah, I like this Silk. I like the Silk a lot. It feels good on my skin. Okay, bad joke. All right, let's keep going. This is fun because I wonder what happens if you get 3 of them. Okay, so here we go. Night Watch. The cape protects me. Night Watch can use plasticity. After clearing action tokens, choose an edge of the square he currently occupies. Lines of fire drawn to him that cross that edge are blocked until your next turn. Night Watch can use Perplex, but only to target himself. So I really do wonder if you get 3 of them together, can they form this the shield that protects them and everybody behind them, So that's something. But yeah, let's keep going. All right. Death Adder. Claws, Blaze, Claws, Fangs. Okay. This one is weird. So he has the fact, if he's in water, you can't have line of fire drawn to him unless you're adjacent opposing character, which is pretty cool. Then he gets stealth. So he has the ability so he can't really be seen. So I like that. Okay. Then he has claws and tail spikes and poison. He uses Blaze Claws, Fangs, poison, and Giant Reach 2. Damage dealt by Death Adder to characters 100 points or less cannot be reduced below 1. So that means like his poison gets past toughness. I mean, that's how I'm reading it. Because poison would deal damage, but if they're under 100 points, he's like, yeah, you're going to take one anyway. Because yeah, it can't be reduced past below one. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Venom. I like his second trait. When an opposing character takes 3 or more damage from one of Venom's attacks after action resolve, he'll Venom one click. I like this. I really like this. The problem is he does not have a 3 base damage in the middle dial, but he does have blades, which makes you hope that you're able to smack somebody and do enough damage. So you can't spell team without EAT. He has defend and toughness, but that's middle dial. At the beginning of your turn, you may deal an adjacent friendly character one unavoidable damage to heal Venom one click. I think that this can be good. The problem is that you need that early game. You need a way to activate characters early game, and this could have been it, but it's in the middle dial, and that's not useful. Anti-Venom is really, really sick, and pun intended. So when you get the fact that he gets shape change, automatically breaks away, plus plasticity. Okay, he's 100 points. All right. He has 10 attack, 18 defense. I know this is a prime. I know. The exploit weakness. Okay. And it's really the shape change super senses combo up front that really makes him hard to deal with. And you just say like, yeah, charge, blades, exploit. That's really great. I am the cure. Give anti-venom a free action. You may counter a different power on each opposing character within 2 squares and line of fire until your next turn. Like, yeah, I have. He has an outwit. He's like, oh yeah, before I come and like blade your face, let me go ahead and take away your defense. So I like that. I like that. All right. Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth is good for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1, at 100 points for the new meta that WizKids is trying to make, he is dead on. Okay. He is 6 clicks deep, and he has the ability to deal 7 damage because he can pick up an ultra heavy. That is nice. Like, oh, there's walls there. Screw that. Pfft. Ultra heavy to the face. So you just have to really worry about getting his attack up to something good, like a 12. So there's that. I really, really, really like that. And he has the ability to make it so that later on he's like, hey, I'm holding an object. You can't evade this attack. Yeah, I mean that includes like an ultralight. So yeah. I like this. I like this. Let's keep going. Hobgoblin. Yeah, nah. This is nice, but it's until you can get something that gives him running shot up front, and no, it's not gonna work. Yeah. So Anaconda, I'm thinking that this is going to be a little bit more interesting. First off, you're pretty much paying 10 points per click. That's pretty good. She doesn't have any major damage reduction, but she has upfront shape change, then super senses, then shape change. So she has some evasions. So I like that. Sidestep on the first 3 clicks. The special attack, slipping through small spaces. Anaconda ignores walls when making a close attack. So I just think like that's not going to work on barrier. That's just going to work on printed terrain. So that is going to be very, very interesting. She also has plasticity and giant reach 2. Opposing characters within 2 squares in line of fire. Treat Anaconda as if she were adjacent for movement purposes. So she has pretty much a little bit of an AoE like zoning ability. I think that this one is sneaky good if you're able to find a way of either A, increasing her defense significantly, or B, being able to make sure that she has, super senses and shape change at all times. This can actually be a pretty good piece to use. Definitely with that giant reach 2, that's great. Now, and this is the part where I don't really like what HC Realms does, because it may not be exactly the right thing. If Anaconda's power actually says Anaconda can ignore blocking terrain when making a close attack, she's going to be way, way more powerful, because she doesn't attack and then destroy the wall after she makes the attack. She just smacks you through a wall. So I really like this. I think that there's some stuff here to manipulate. I think most of the meta is going to ignore her, in all honesty, but I think that this is a really good piece to play with. But again, like I said, you need to have a way of increasing either her defense or giving her super senses. Her attack going into the future, like this time next year, she's going to be a lot more viable. I think if WizKids sticks with its current, design of figures, by keeping them between 5 to 6 clicks long for your average character. So I really do think that this is going to be not necessarily a game changer, but just something really good, because you have that sneak attack, plus you have giant reach 2, plus you have a plasticity aura. That's a lot of influence, because you're going to move 3 squares. Okay, so then you have the square that you're in. Okay, and then you have giant reach 2. So like that's that's a lot of goodness. So anyway, let's just go ahead and keep going on. Now I'm going to say this. I've done a lot of hate on Green Goblin and Hobgoblin, but Norman Osborn is pretty good. And let me just explain why he's pretty good. He's 50 points. He has Sinister Syndicate. And that right there automatically, allows you to sort of use him for wild cards, while at the same time having stealth, willpower, and outwit for utility. The 5 range I'm not too gung-ho about, but he's going to get a minimum range 6 for all of his little powers anyway. Then he has the trait Still Wearing the Mask Underneath. At the beginning of the game, you may place a character named Green Goblin from your sideline on this card on any click. Choose a power on that click. Norman Osborn can use that power this game. Now, that is a lot, and I do mean a lot of flexibility. Now, the problem comes in is like in Modern Age, there's only one Green Goblin. But going forward, looking at Golden Age, that's when it opens up. That's when you start seeing some of the coolness that possibly could be there, because you also have, I hate to say it, AE abilities as well that that you could pick. Now, if it says choose a standard power, this is the one thing I don't like during the preview threads, then yeah, you can't. But if it just says choose a power, then you could get special powers, and that would include some of the AE effects too. But yeah, definitely, I think there's some abuse here. Overdrive, you've already heard, like every other podcast, talk about Overdrive. Overdrive's ability just for him to make a vehicle that he himself can drive and then carry a bunch of people. I really like that, but it does have a cost. It says the world is my getaway vehicle. Sorry. Give Overdrive a free action when he is adjacent to a standard object. Remove that object from the game and place a charged up bystander in that square if none are on the map. Okay, so that's pretty nice. All right, so he's driving this vehicle, and it has 11 movement, sidestep, and 18 defense. It has passengers 4, and then a special trait says, like my ride, hop in. This vehicle can use this vehicle can, I guess, should be only be piloted by a character named Overdrive. Okay, so that's great. So you just can't be making vehicles for other people to get in and then do stupid stuff. Now, what this does in particular is a couple of things. Number one, you can't, make this vehicle do stupid stuff like, I put, what's his name? I go ahead and I created a situation where I'm able to put Proteus inside of here. No. You can't do that. So I like this. At the same time, I think that there's some abuses here that can get really, really, really interesting. But that's another story. But the main thing you got to look at is Passengers 4. Passengers 4 is the key element. Because you're able to not just say, like, I dropped, 2 Doc Ocks on top of you. But you're able to all of a sudden, in a larger game, just say, hey, pit crew, we're out of here. Boom. We need to get to the front lines. Or, hey, army, we need to get back to the, rally point B. So there's a lot of mobility here. Because we got to also remember that vehicles do not have a carry penalty. So I like this. I like this. All right. Let's keep going. Nope. No Scorpion. Yeah, see this other number 31 Spider-Man, I'm not a fan of him. This isn't good. Because, well, real quick, number 31 Spider-Man, you're too inclined to push to click 2. And you might as well have started on click 2. And then if you really like just start looking at him, you don't have any mobility and your range is 4. So the only thing you really do is just tying stuff up. And you have to hit to use the call-in help from the Spider-Verse thing. And I'm really not a fan of this. I'm really not a fan of this. It can be useful, and again, like I said, if you're able to summon anybody with a Spider-Man family keyword, yeah, like you should be able to find somebody broke. But I don't like the fact that he has a 4 range. He can't really do that much. All right, let's go. Keep going. Beetle. Janice Lincoln. So I don't remember this beetle. Sinister Syndicate with the Sinister Syndicate team ability, 6 range, 2 targets, 75 points. Armor keyword, Sinister Syndicate keyword. Trait, superior to the other guys once per turn for all characters with this trait. If this character uses Sinister Syndicate team ability, replace their attack values with beetles after actions resolve. Give hit characters an action token. This is good. Now the problem is that her values is 10. Now here's the question. Well, no, never mind. You wouldn't be able to use a modified, so never mind. So your attack value is 10, so that part I don't like. But if you were able maybe to chain an 11, would that still count? Because it doesn't say replace their attack value with the printed attack value. So that is a question that is legitimate that needs to probably be raised at the rules on the rules forum. Now, up front, you're going to say, Dark Logos, why are you liking this figure? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, a 20 at range, just base stats, and 21 in hindering. You know, that's good. That's really good. 3 damage. You're going to be doing standard damage against most figures. And the special power. Mylar Wings, Beetle can use running shot. When she does, she breaks away automatically. So she has a lot of kiting ability that is really, really nice. Add in the TA in that trait. There's a lot of utility here. Is she a glass cannon? Yeah, because once she gets punched in the mouth, she's pretty much downhill. Like, really downhill. Can be one-shotted by a good chunk of characters downhill. So, I like it. I understand, the limitations that are there. But for 75 points, there are only a handful of characters in the game that are better than her at 75 points. And if, like I said, we're seeing a readjustment, a year from now, she's going to be really good. The question is will anybody remember her? And my answer is no. I don't think anyone will remember her, sadly. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. All right. Moving on. Tiger Shark. Because this dude he's not as good as past Tiger Sharks, I'll say that much. Blood in the Water, Tiger Shark modifies his attack value by +1 when attacking an opposing character that is not on a starting click. So that's a nice thing. And if an opposing character has taken damage from an attack this turn, modify his attack by +2 instead. So he can get his stats up. He doesn't have like a lot of charge like the other Tiger Sharks did. In my element, once per turn when Tiger Shark occupies water terrain, he can use sidestep even if he's already used sidestep this turn. And again, he needs like a full move charge or something like that to really make him compete. But I like it. I mean, because it's Tiger Shark. There's a lot of blades here. Now, again, I think where this is going to get really nice is that you combine him with the Swordsman ID card, and so now, since he has blades, then he has access to Flurry. And that's where Tiger Shark will get really good. Alright, let's keep going. I'm going to go down to Puff Adder. And again, like why Puff Adder? We're at 100 points, we're 6 clicks deep, then we also have 60 points for 4 clicks. I like it. You have the sneak attack thing, which gives you a backup. It gives you a backup attack, backup movement attack. Considering that you have charge for 2 clicks and then sidestep for the rest, just being able to say like, "Yep, phase, boom, now I smack you." That's good. Then intimidating size at the beginning of your turn, choose Puff Adder can use super strength, or has giant, or Puff Adder has something damage. Okay, just normal damage. Puff Adder has the chosen effect until your next turn. So you could choose if he's standard size, or is he super strength and giant. Now, here's the thing that I think is interesting, is that if you do choose super strength and giant, you just need to pick an indoor map and you're fine. I don't see you really playing him too much outside of a theme team. But again, like, let's look at this. You come up, you have super strength, you charge, whack a dude for 6, 400 points. That's pretty nice. Not only that, you also have the option to just be like, hey, I'm standard size now. Poof. Okay. So there's advantages with that as well. Venomous Spit. Give Puff Adder a power action to deal 1 penetrating damage to an opposing character within 3 squares in line of fire. So yeah, there's advantages for going giant. So you're just like, boom, you take a damage. Now, this part I think will actually be a game changer. For a couple of reasons. Number one, it will force people to look at Invincible more. Number two, you don't have to roll. I should have replaced it. The first part should be 2 and the other one should be 1. The fact that you're able to do damage without rolling. You can also stack this with poison if you're able to give him poison. And I think that that's where the compounding will come in. If you're able to give Puff Adder poison and run like 2 of them at 60, now your opponent is pretty concerned. Because if you don't have Invincible, it's just going to be like, okay, now I poison you. Okay, take 1. And now I'm going to take a power action to give you another one. And so what it does is it says, hey, high damage, figures, I sort of have your number. Not only that, this sort of like guaranteed kills a lot of those colossal retaliations. Actually, no, it does. It guaranteed kills the colossal retaliations. So if you have a good distribution method, this could probably be a pretty good idea. Yeah, like I like this. All right. Moving on. Cloak. I wish he was deeper dialed so that the dagger was a little bit more better with her, but with him, but it is what it is. Now, he has Spider-Man TA, so yay, wildcard abuse. 35 points. Improved movement, ignores hindering, elevated, blocking, and characters. So, pretty much everything. Then, She Depends on Me. Cloak can use the carry ability. If he carries a friendly character named Dagger, he may carry an additional character. Give Cloak a power action and place a friendly character named Dagger within 10 squares in line of fire into a square adjacent to Cloak. So what's sort of nice is that he has the ability to sort of like just summon summon Dagger on top of him during the game. Now, that's not bad. Okay, I'm just going to be upfront. Like, that's not bad. Where I'm more looking at is if we're able to just start looking at Cloak's utility with Dagger, you're going to be playing like older Daggers or future Daggers, but not really like this set. I don't think that these two really have good synergy for a 300-point team, because you have to look at it. For those two together, that's 70 points. And you would have to ask yourself, like, what would you have to be able to do with those two that's better than any other 70 points that you can play? And that's really the question. And then, like sort of like I said with Dagger before, is that she needs the Marvel Knights ATA, and then you look at Cloak, and Cloak really doesn't need it because he already has stealth. So there's something to be said there as well. But let's look at the special power. Chilling Darkness. Cloak can use shape change. When Cloak hits an opposing character with a close attack, that character is dealt 1 penetrating damage instead of normal. I really don't like that. So the question comes in is, why are you using Cloak? And it's just purely as a taxi, and as a defender, as a cheap defender. Now, that is the one thing that he does well. The main problem is that you just have to keep him alive, and it's really easy to KO him. So, there you go. Next up is Moon Knight, and Moon Knight's a big deal, mainly for the ID cards, so you have to just be aware of them. Spider-Man TA. Then he has Avatar of Vengeance, collecting for Kahashu. When Moon Knight damages an opposing character, place a tribute token on this card. At the beginning of your turn, give Moon Knight a free action and remove a tribute token from this card to heal him 1 click. When Moon Knight would be KO'd, you may remove 2 tribute tokens instead to turn him to click 6, which would be his last click, which is sort of scary if you're adjacent to somebody. Now, why is this trait in and of itself gives you a lot of advantages, mainly the fact that you can, it just says when you damage an opposing character, and there's multiple ways for you to damage an opposing character. The first is really simply like attacking. The second is like, hey, if I get poison or mystics, then those 2 things I don't have to roll, and I'm stacking these tokens. So if you're able to find a way of giving him poison or mystics, then he's like sneaky viable. The thing is that he has to get two of those like collected Avatar Vengeance tokens before he's KO'd, and at 6 clicks, that's going to be a little bit harder to do. So he's going to need some evasion. His stats are okay, but they're not the greatest, and that's why I would say, like, definitely if you're able to get him poison and mystics, those 2 things, like really poison, mystics, super senses, or shape change. He doesn't need both, but he definitely needs one. Then you have the special power, I want them to see me coming. Modify Moon Knight's attack value by +1 for each opposing character within his range that can draw a line of fire to him. So, okay, so that helps solve for some things, but yeah, I'll just say it helps solve for some things. Doesn't solve for everything. It puts you in a very dangerous position. But let's just say this. We're talking about building to compensate for that. Shield TA, making it so that you have an 8 range. If your opponents can, you could draw a line of fire to those characters. That gives you a safer position for you to, take your shot. So it's not all bad. That would give you possibly easier chance of getting a +3 attack. And then from there, you could get, use some shield, TA stuff to increase your damage, to 4 or 5. So this is not bad. This isn't great, but I think there might be some tweaking here that if you're able to get some poison, some shape change or super senses or some mystics on the team, then yeah, this is definitely going to be a figure to look at. Yay, Mysterio, because Mysterio. Let's just sort of be clear. He's not deep. He's not stupid level strong, but he does have this cool trait. Illusions and Nightmares, Mysterio starts the game with a mist marker attached, and while it's attached, all lines of fire to Mysterio are hindered. Okay, that's questionable how they're using that. Give Mysterio a power action and choose an opposing character within range in line of fire and attach the mist token to them, removing it from anywhere else. When another character with the mist marker attached makes an attack, the target can use shape change. If a target can already use shape change, the target can use super senses. Ooh, so here we go. This might actually be what a couple of figures I've talked about needs. When this character with the miss marker hits or is KO, attach the miss marker to Mysterio. I don't like that part, but the fact that Mysterio functionally can give a character shape change or super senses and shape change, I really like that. That makes him really strong as a support piece. And sort of justifies his point, not completely justifying all of his points, but it does justify the fact that he is 60 points of utility. You also have the prop and stealth, which is nice. The mind control barrier on click 2, I could really do without that. I would have preferred probably just like a full dial of stealth and barrier, barrier prop. That would have been great. But, you can't get everything that you want, but you get what you need. All right. Speed Demon, I'm not a fan. I'm just touching on it real quick, just saying I'm not a fan. Do I understand that people will play it? Yes. I just don't think it has a place when you have Quicksilver in the same meta. If you're able to get rid of Quicksilver, then you have something that you can do with him. But you have to get rid of Quicksilver and hope that there's no other superior hypersonic speeders than him in the meantime for in that low point range. Okay, here we go. Here's a good one, Sandman. Alright, so let's look at Sandman real quick. Packed Sand Wall. You may give Sandman a power action and place a sand wall marker in Sandman Square, removing it from anywhere else and aligning it with one edge of the square. The sand wall is a wall that Sandman can move through and does not block his line of fire. If Sandman is within 3 squares of the sand wall, you can give Sandman a free action to make a close combat attack as if he occupied that square. Okay. There are some things that I like about this. First off is that you have like a little terrain that you can like sort of zone people through. We also know you can't attack through other Sandman's, little walls because of the whole Quicksilver ruling that they did, that you couldn't attack through another Quicksilver's little wind tunnel thing. So, after image. So that's pretty cool. I think that this can be interesting, and when you combine it with some of the Sinister Syndicate stuff, he can be a little bit more difficult to deal with. The sidestep with Close Combat Expert, whatever. But when you start combining it with the Sand Wall, that actually could be pretty good, because here's where I'm more looking at is you can use the Sand Wall to, at the right time, just say like, bam, I'm tying up somebody here, but now I'm going to bust down this wall, and using my sand marker, because it's a melee attack, it doesn't matter, then bam, I bust down this wall, and now I'm able to open up the shot for Doc Ock or something, so that's pretty cool. Then of course Hydro Man is the prime. Drown you on dry land. Give Hydro Man a free action and attach the submerged marker to an adjacent opposing character, removing it from anywhere else. That character can't be placed, must break away before moving, and cannot do so automatically. Each time that character fails to break away, deal it 1 penetrating damage. When that character breaks away, remove the submerged marker from it. So you got a little lockdown going. Okay, so that's nice. You have 160 points. I'm thinking of some other cool stuff on the side, but I have to see if some of that stuff works. Water sustains me. Give Hydro Man a free action and choose place a water terrain marker within 6 squares in line of fire, or remove a water terrain marker from a square he occupies and heal him 1 click. So, it gives him a little bit of sustain. Yeah, that gives him a little bit of sustain, so that's not bad. But, I'm still thinking. Like, I think there's some. You have to ask yourself, how else could you combine the water terrain marker with other things, and is it worth those points? And I'm still wondering about that. Anyway, absorbing excess water. If Hydro Man occupies a square water terrain, he has the giant symbol and modifies his damage value by +1. Yeah, it's not bad. Definitely on first few clicks, it's not bad. If there are also 8 squares of water terrain adjacent, he instead has colossal and modifies his damage value by +2. That's good too, but here's the issue I'm looking at is his attack value caps out at an 11 and goes down to a 9. You're going to have some problems hitting, so that's my only real concern. Special power up front on his 100-point dial is water flows everywhere. Hydro Man can use sidestep and improve movement, ignores elevated terrain, ignores hindering terrain, ignores blocking terrain, ignores character. So he can just pretty much go where he pleases. But he doesn't have like charge or anything like that, so his mobility is really limited. So you're looking at a situation where, like Atlantis, he is a freaking king, but on most other maps, he's really, really weak. And there's nothing in his keywords that really gives him a chance of really getting on a water map consistently. That actually benefits his whole team. So, it's those I place water terrain. That is what I'm wondering. I really have some serious questions about what I can do to abuse that. But because placing water terrain is rare. So yeah. All right. Let me gonna keep going. Let's see. I'm gonna really just point out something really quick. Boomerang at 110 with the leadership in combination with the thugs. I really do like that. I really do like that. I think there's some abuses there. Yeah. So just saying that like off the top. So let's just keep on going down. I know a lot of people have talked about Carnage, so I'm just going to let Carnage go. Alright, here we go. We don't have Lizard, which that sucks. Here's Mephisto. Worthy of my full power. If Mephisto is 45 points, he is KO'd when he crosses the red line. If he's 130, he has power cosmic team ability. Is not KO when he crosses the red line and cannot be healed above the red line KO. Now, that point, and I don't really like that, since that means you're paying 130 points for 5 clicks. Well, sorry. Yeah, it's an operational of 5 clicks. Technically, you're 7, but you're really paying for 5 clicks. Okay, here we go. Lord of the Underworld. When a character would miss and doesn't have a contract token on its card, that character's player may place one on that character's card, and that character may use probability control to target that attack roll. Okay, I don't know why they would use that phrasing. Characters with a contract token on their card modify their defense values by -1. When they are KO'd, Mephisto may heal 1 click. Alright. So that's sort of interesting. Alright. Next up is Unseen Manipulator. This is his starting special power. Mephisto can use sidestep and stealth, give Mephisto a power action, choose an opposing character within range and line of fire, and place that character into a square that is adjacent to their current square. If no opposing characters within 4 squares, this is a free action. Now, here's why this is sort of stupid. If you have a guy with 6 range and Mephisto has 8 range, he functionally can just be like, "Yep, bloop, I place you here so that my guy with 6 range can shoot you." So that's pretty nice. Yeah, that's pretty nice. He has a stop click. Of course, as you have forced my hand, he gets invincible, and it cannot be ignored. So, and he has running shot, pulse wave, prop. So yay. So I'm looking at this. Is this fun? Yes. Is this meta in terms of how it's going to change the game? Not yet. But I do think there is some things here that can be very, very interesting. And also in particular that technically Mephisto could put a contract token on himself. Because it just says when a character would miss and doesn't have a contract token. But I don't know if anybody's sort of gone over that. But yeah. Let's keep on going. Black Cat. What time are we at? Yeah, we're at 1:15. So I'll wrap it up here at Black Cat and Frogman, and then we'll go into part 2. Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, yay. Spider-Man TA, yay. 50 points, yay. 4 clicks, not too much of a fan of that, but that's how things are going. Improve movement, ignores elevated, makes sense. I'll just take that, thanks. When Black Cat hits with an attack, you may choose that it deals no damage. If you do, you may choose an item equipped to that character that was an object and equip it to Black Cat. This is going to be interesting for limited for Rock. But there, like, you have questions of how she's going to get into position outside of TK. Anyway, just lucky, I guess, once per turn. When Black Cat makes an attack or is the target of an attack, she may re-roll one of the dice of the attack roll. So that's pretty good that she gets to pick a dice to re-roll. So I really like that. All right. Yeah, so I think that just being able to do that could be interesting. You have like a mini Mitzelplick. So, yeah, I think that this can be interesting. All right, and let's go ahead and go to Frogman. Frogman, he has Spider-Man family keyword, but no TA, which I don't know why, but it would have been really great if he did. 5 clicks. Says, sorry, bounced into you again. Sorry, Frogman isn't dealt knockback damage. Give Frogman a free action to knock himself back 4 squares in a horizontal or vertical direction after actions resolve. If the knockback path was stopped by a character, Frogman knocks that character back 2 squares. Now, the question is like what determines knockback direction? Because I can easily just go forward, which functionally would give him like a little mini charge. So that's pretty cool. If only he had some, level of damage. But anyway, I meant to do that. Don't look so astonished. When Frogman knocks back an opposing character that in that character is KO'd by the knockback damage, after action resolve, give an action token to all opposing characters within 4 squares of the square the KO character was last occupied. So this can actually be pretty good in making pogs on indoor maps or just like near walls really huge liabilities. So yeah, I like this. There's a ton of things that I can see just with it you can use. The question comes in is how creative can the player base get with knockback, like just straight up on knockback. So all right, that's it for part 1 of Amazing Spider-Man set review. So thanks for listening for this period of time, and we'll go ahead and move on to part 2. If you're like, I'm not going to do part 2, cool. You can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me, man, I need to get more naps in a day. Yep. Not only that, you can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. And, of course, if you want to buy a shirt, you can look so in the description below. All right, that's it. And I'll see you all in part 2.